Hello, class. So I thought I'd just start today by going over a little bit of what you should have been working on in modules 1 and 2. So I'll get into a little bit with this demonstrational uh, exercise here on this mix that I'm working on. And we'll do some mix preparation. I'll show you a little bit about balance and a little bit about frequency. Okay, so to get started, we want to save a copy. So to do that, I'll show you that. Let's do save copy in. You want to copy the audio files. Let's put this in a new folder. I hope all y'all been faring okay through this weather we had. It's pretty bad. Okay, so we saved a copy of it. One of the next things we would want to do, if it needed it, would be to tweak the track timing. So let's just say, for instance, that the kick was off here. Zoom in a little bit on that. So the first thing we would want to do when we were adjusting something with elastic audio would be to change the time base to ticks. Then we would select the elastic audio plugin. And since we're doing this to a kick, we would choose rhythm. Polyphonic for things with chords, monophonic for things like lead riffs or a single voice. Xform is also available to higher detail, but it's for rendered only. It doesn't have real-time processing. So again, we'll choose rhythmic for this. All right, now from the track view selector, where it says waveform, likewise you'll find playlist, analysis, warp. For this, we'll use warp. If you'll notice, it's got lines at all the transient points of the kick now. Again, if you switch this from Smart Tool to Pencil, you can create event markers on those transients. So now you can adjust. See, I've put it in slip here. Let's undo that. But in slip, if there was something that was odd about it, you could adjust the timing that way in warp mode. Okay, I just kind of wanted to show you that on tweaking track timing. So anyway, we'll undo that. Set it back to waveform. We'll even turn off the elastic audio. Commit. Turn view. Next, you would eliminate the noises. So likewise, you could just, in slip this up to any places, or say there was something you wanted to keep. Select that, Command E. You could get rid of everything else here. There's no toms here. Okay. That's how you eliminate noises by trimming tail heads. You'd also delete extra notes from any MIDI tracks. I'll show you that in a second. But crossfade edits. Let's do that real quick on this bass track. Zoom in a little bit. Now with Smart Tool on, see if you'll click above these three right here. Give you the Smart Tool. And then if you bring it to the bottom of where the two tracks meet, you can create a crossfade here between the two. Same thing here. Likewise, you could also do just fades, like very zoomed in if you wanted to, if there was something that you needed to. But for instance, this is how to do a basic fade at the end here. Take your Smart Tool up to the top, pull it back there. That would be that. Next, you would composite any tracks. If you had, let's say, anything in the playlist view, and then it would have all your other tracks here, and you could composite them together. Likewise, you would want to make sure that they had crossfades and fades on them. Let's back to waveform, turn view, let's back to grid. Again, you would tune your tracks. I kind of showed you how to do that with Elastic Audio. Let me also show you how to do that real quickly with Melodyne real quick. Let's do that with the bass. You would also consolidate tracks after tuning your tracks. In this instance, I'm going to go ahead and consolidate this bass track. Consolidate clip. One waveform now. All right. Let's open up Melodyne. And this is just for demonstration purposes. So how this works, once you open Melodyne and you're ready to transfer the notes into the piano roll, you can hit the transfer button and then just hit play. Okay, now that that's done, you can kind of see how it's plotted out the notes of the bass riff. They look pretty good, like I was in tune when I played that actually. But if you were to adjust them, you can either drag them to another step, half step at a time, or you can hit Option, and then you've got finer control where you can pitch it to just the note that you want. Say you want it just a little flatter or a little sharper or something because it was flat or sharp, respectively. So that's how to do that. Again, you could like completely change it up. I try not to do that. It's usually just some little very fine thing, or it's better to retake it if it's wrong. Okay, so that's basically how to do that. We'll close Melodyne out. In fact, we'll take it off there. I don't think we really need it. Okay, next you would arrange your tracks. Since we consolidated any of the other tracks that needed, I guess we could do that again. Consolidate these right here. Okay. Likewise, you would go in, make sure there were no duplicate notes in the MIDI. There aren't any here, but let's just say there was one that overlapped this note. Delete the duplicates. So that's how to do that. Yes, arrange your tracks. So what I like to do, as a trick somebody taught me here recently in the last couple of years, was all these right here are my auxes. I've got one for voice, one for drums, bass, guitar, keys, and then 2 effects channels even too, verb and delay. And if you'll notice, they're grayed out on the solos because solo safe is bypasses on. So that way when you like solo the kick, it still comes through the drum aux. But anyway, what I'm getting to is this. If you'll right click with all your auxes selected and then you zoom down, you'll notice right here where it says convert aux to routing folder. Do that. Now those are routing folders, and now you can take each of these groups, and likewise you see the groups were created here for these, but the vocal channels, okay? Now with both of them selected, you can right click, move to Vox, the drums. Move to drums, bass, move to bass, all the guitar channels, guitars, likewise all the keys, excuse me, keys. Okay, and then likewise you could color code each one of these by selecting all 3 and then clicking on the color palette over here and then set them the same as what you set the tracks up as. Likewise we'll do that to drums. Set all those the same. One of the next steps you needed to do in mix preparation was to name all your tracks correctly, labeled. This is already done here, but you know, use some kind of scheme that you'll be able to figure out. Some of the codes I use are like electric guitar direct, electric guitar mic'd, you know, kick, snare, hi-hat, tom 1 through 4, ride, percussion, overhead, room mic. Some I spell out, some I just use little codes for. Electric, bass, direct. Okay, back to color coding. Let's make all these red. And let's see. Sure, give it some color. Let's go gold, green. Next, you would want to insert markers. I've already done that on this track, but the way to do that is, you know, put it in grid. Set it to the start for your first marker. Come over to the marker meter, the marker ruler. There you go. Once you have the little plus sign, and then just do that throughout the track to label them all. Create groups, that was already done, but the way you do that is like this. Select all the instruments in the group, Command G, and then it's got all the ones currently in the group already, but you could assign what you wanted in that group. Well, let's delete that group. effects channels were created. Again, I did that by creating auxes, and in this instance, I used just stock studio reverb, and for delay, I'm using H delay. That's a Waves plugin though, but you can use some stock delay for that even. Likewise, you would want to assign all your channels. I didn't exactly show that. For instance, how to set them all to the same bus. Shift, Option, hit your output. Well, not on that one. Shift, Option for all selected. And we see here it's bus 3. And set all selected to bus 3. And you'll see here on its input coming in on bus 3. So you can assign that per section to go through each bus. And the last step of mix preparation was insert compressors and limiters. So next you would put, let's say on the kick, we'll use some stock. You could just easily use, let's see here, Dyne 3 compressor limiter. And then you would kind of squash that the way that you want. Okay, so with that done, bring our view back, close that out. All right, let's bring up our mix window. So next we would move on to some balancing basics, and a lot of that can be done to taste, but you do want to make sure that everything's reading about -10 dB at its loudest, and then use your mixing board to kind of mix and bring up a balance between the instruments. Okay, and one of the last things I wanted to cover with you guys was just the basics of some of the EQ. And I'll pull up this bass. Right now, I'm using FabFilter, but you can still do this with stock EQ. As a matter of fact, let's just pull up stock EQ. But you can see here I had a high pass filter even on the bass. This was something that Chris kind of showed me, that like even the bass and the kick could be pulled up to their lowest frequencies, and you get rid of any additional mud layering up on the tracks that way. So but yeah, let's do that with stock EQ. I'll change that out. Okay, so we'll open up our 7-band EQ, and the first thing we'll want to do is put the high pass filter on. So hit N, turn its dB up, and then pull its frequency to about 50. On a bass, 50 is probably pretty good. Again, on everything else, 100 or higher, 100 hertz or higher, 50 hertz or higher for bass and kick, 100 hertz or higher for everything else, unless they have some really low notes or something. So that would be the first thing you do. Then you just use some of your EQ basics. You might use the shelf to boost a little bit of the highs, to bring out a little sparkle up here in the 10 to 20K area. You might use a bell shape to boost your mids a little bit. Don't do it more than 3 to 6 dB. Usually about 3 is good. But likewise, you could also do frequency sweeps. I'll show you how to do that. Narrow the Q of the frequency. We've got the bass soloed out. And then sweep the frequency. See if there's anything that stands out. With each track, and that's kind of the basics of EQ. So that's what I wanted you guys to know on that one. So that's all I wanted to cover on this virtual lesson. I hope you guys are all safe and doing well, and I'll see you in class this week, coming week. Take care.